Hey everyone, welcome to this April weekly Plan With Me video, where I'll be showing you some ideas for weekly spreads you can use in your journal. I'm continuing on with the bakery theme I started in my April monthly video. If you didn't have a chance to watch that yet, I will leave the link for the video above and in the description. And here is a quick recap of everything we did during that monthly Plan With Me. This bakery theme has been really fun for me because I follow a lot of artists on Instagram that make super cute drawings, and I've seen a ton of adorable bakery art over the years, and finally decided it was my turn to give it a go. I'm just getting started with some faux calligraphy here since I haven't really learned how to do proper lettering yet, but so far I'm enjoying this style of lettering to add a little cuteness to these pages. I also love drawing these mini calendars a lot, although I'm not sure how much I actually use them, but I like highlighting which week we're on, and I just think it's a cute feature to add to the page. I'm just drawing out all of the day boxes here, and I decided to use 7 this week and leave a little space for another drawing. For me, my bullet journal is more about drawing and keeping track of my goals, and I can keep it fairly casual because I don't actually have a whole lot going on in my schedule currently. So sometimes I vary the number of boxes based on the designs I want to draw rather than the functionality of it as a planner. So for each of the weekly spreads, I decided to stick with a specific bakery item or dessert, and this first weekly is dedicated to cupcakes. So this first drawing is my little gray kitty enjoying a cupcake. This is my main character, and I still don't have a name for him. I feel like the more I draw him, the harder it is for me to come up with a name for him because nothing seems quite right. So oftentimes I just call him Gray Kitty. He deserves more than that, I know, but at least he's very happy here because he's getting to enjoy a yummy cupcake with tons of frosting. Up here, I'm drawing 2 more cupcakes who are clearly in love with each other. And I mean, when they look that good, how could they not be? Don't worry, I won't let anybody eat these guys. I don't know about you, but ever since I was a kid, I've always struggled eating any kind of food that looks cute and has a face on it. Like chocolate bunnies for Easter, I can't do it. So if I ever saw a cupcake that looked like this, I would never be able to eat it, which is good news for these little guys. I feel like I've drawn these little cupcakes so many times. For some reason, they just frequently find their way into my art and stickers that I create. So of course they had to come along for the bakery theme. I'm just erasing some of the pencil lines here. And now I'm starting to color in the lettering. I'm using the same color palette that I used in the monthly spreads to keep everything cohesive. The main color scheme that emerged was this light sand color, as well as a really pretty dusty rose color, and a green, which is called asparagus. And I'll write down all of the specific numbers for these Tombow brush pens in the description below. Sometimes, and I would even say a lot of the times, I don't really know the full plan of what I'm doing until I start putting the colors down on paper. So here I was deciding if there should be color on top of the boxes or just on the bottom, because I only used a small thumbnail to plan out colors and I didn't account for how the top of the boxes would look. I don't know that I would necessarily do it this way again, but this is part of the process and why I like to look at my bullet journal as a sketchbook and a place to experiment, rather than getting held up with trying to make it look perfect. So again, I don't know why, but highlighting the current week on the mini calendar is one of my favorite things to do on each weekly spread. And now I'm just coloring in these happy little cupcakes with this light sand color. And adding a little shading around their faces. I really enjoy using light pastel colors to keep everything looking adorable. and I find the colors don't streak as much as when I use more darker saturated colors. And then I'm using the same color or a slightly darker version of it to color in their little sprinkles. And then I'm just drawing in a little shadow under each of them to make them look like they have a little more dimension. And now we're back to Gray Kitty over here, just loving life with his cupcake. Cupcakes really do just make everything better. I really love this dusty rose color. I think it's one of my favorite colors in this new brush pen pack that I got. I feel like all of these colors just play together really nicely, which helps to take a lot of the guesswork out of planning my color schemes. I'm just adding a little color to the sparkles here, and then coming in with a white gel pen to add a little sparkle onto the frosting and sprinkles to make them pop a little better. And finally, I'm just drawing a drop shadow around these boxes to give them the illusion of coming off the page. And here is the final weekly spread. The next weekly spread I'm working on is a macaron theme, which I feel like I'm saying wrong. I always thought it was pronounced macaroon, and yes, I watched some videos on how to pronounce it, but I think if I say macaron without the French accent, then it also still sounds wrong. I don't know. I think you guys know what I'm going for here. Anyways, I think this ended up being my favorite spread when it was all done. The colors worked really well together, as you'll see later, and these little cookies, as we'll call them, are really happy looking. I try to challenge myself with each weekly page to come up with different designs and try different layouts. So this was one I hadn't seen before. I feel like there are so many cute ideas out there that can be mixed and matched together each week, and since this is a creative outlet for me, I like to try to vary it up a little bit. And I know that's not super realistic for everybody because it does take a decent amount of time to come up with and create. But for me, this is what I like to do because it is a fun creative outlet and lets me expand upon whatever theme I'm working on. And hopefully it can provide some cute new ideas for those of you who are looking to try something different with your bullet journal. I mean, nothing I do is super unique, but I personally love watching different artists and collecting different ideas and blending them into my own design. I guess that's really what art is when it comes down to it. Grabbing bits and pieces and techniques from art we see and like, and merging it into our own unique style. These little macarons were super fun to draw, especially this little guy with his happy smiling face. I don't know what it is about certain food that is so adorable. I'm just using the white paint pen to bring out the whites of his eyes a little bit better here. And then I'm drawing a few more of these little cookies at the bottom here. The way I drew them makes me kind of imagine them rolling or somersaulting across the bottom of the page. Once you start drawing faces on inanimate objects, then everything seems to gain a personality, even when it doesn't have a face on it. This is how my brain works. I don't know. I'm using the pink, tan, and blue colors to color in the headers of these day boxes. I really liked the blue with this theme and thought it played off the macaron colors very nicely. So I guess in this bakery theme, I switched from using green and blue as the complementing colors to the pink and tan that I've been using more often on the pages, if that makes any sense. And it really does vary up the feel and the vibe of the pages depending on what color was used. I think for something as light and cute and playful as macarons, This color scheme really is what made this spread pop for me. I'm just writing in the days of the week here, giving both Saturday and Sunday a weekend box together. And again, I'm highlighting the current week on the mini calendar, and then beginning to color in our cute little macaron. I'm just adding a slight shadow under the cookie to give him a little bit more dimension, and drawing a shadow under him as well so that he looks like he pops off the page a bit. Coloring these cookies was so satisfying, and I kind of want to make more of them, even though this theme is over now as I'm recording this voiceover. I'm sure these macarons will show up again in future drawings of mine. There are so many fun color combinations that can be created with them, and they're really quite simple to draw. To be completely honest, I've never actually tried one of these cookies, sadly, and I hear that the American version are actually quite different than the French version, so I guess I'll just have to visit France one day and find out for myself. Again, just adding a bit of dimension to the shapes of these and adding a shadow under them. When I went to draw the shadow here, it lifted up the white gel pen off the paper and I had to draw it in again. So that was unexpected, but easy enough to fix. Then I went through and drew these light pink lines to kind of break up the boxes a little bit. I really love having light pastel colored markers to do this with. Sometimes I think I can go a bit overboard with color, but I just can't help myself. And I'm just adding a few drop shadows. And a little bit of white highlights to finish up this page. Moving on to our third weekly, which is a pretty standard layout, I'm sure, but one that I haven't used specifically. I wanted to leave a decent sized space so that I could draw a gray kitty rolling out some dough before he makes some sugar cookies. I also like to switch between vertical layouts and horizontal layouts for variety, and these horizontal boxes definitely allow more space for writing what's going on in my day, which is nice. These are 9 boxes tall by 26 boxes wide, which leaves a ton of room for scheduling or writing down memorable moments from the day, or whatever you need depending on what you use your bullet journal for. So I'm doing the lettering on the top here again, which some of it turned out cute, but really the 6 just bothers me a lot. I don't like to consider these mistakes as much as learning how to do it better in the future, which is why I always say that I use my bullet journal as a sketchbook, because it eliminates that need for perfection that I think stops so many people from even starting. And I will say that continuing to practice my fine lining is actually starting to pay off a little bit, and I'm having more confidence in it. I used to mostly draw in Procreate on my tablet, which meant that I could undo and redo lines as much as I wanted. So having an art practice on paper has also forced me to grow in different ways, which has been really rewarding. Not having the ability to erase fine liner has made me embrace the wonkiness that comes with it, and embrace imperfections in my art style, instead of letting them stop me like they would have in the past. And honestly, I kind of love my imperfect art style. because when I was drawing on a tablet, the lines looked almost too perfect, whereas now they have their own character that somehow adds to the cuteness of all the drawings. I've gone back to using green as the color to pair with the tan and pink palette on this spread, and I honestly wonder how different it would have looked if I had used the blue instead. I kind of messed up the order that I had originally intended the colors to go in for the day boxes, but once they're laid down, there's really not much you can do to remove them. So it is what it is. I still think it turned out fine. And then I'm just writing in the notes section and the days of the week. I kind of want to get some of those stamps that I see people using for the days of the week because I'm not in love with my handwriting and I just think they would be really fun. I used to actually stamp a lot as a kid because my aunt and my grandma were super into it, so there's something super fun about stamping in my mind. Sometimes it can be hard for me to not get carried away buying all of the cute accessories and items that can come with bullet journaling, like different markers and washi tape and stamps and whatnot, but it's been super fun for me to slowly build up a collection of things. I still have so much that I want to get, but unfortunately my bank account likes to argue with me about actually going through with it. So back to Gray Kitty here and his excitement over making sugar cookies. I wonder if he's having more fun in the process of making the cookies or if he's more focused on the excitement of eating them, like I usually am. I think baking is a fun creative outlet, but I definitely enjoy the part where you get to eat or share what you've created with others. And you probably guessed what was coming up next, adding these drop shadows around the boxes. And also adding some light pink lines to kind of break up the long white spaces in the boxes. And then I came back at the end and decided that the notes section would be even cuter if I turned it into a little plaid design. I didn't really have a lot of things to add highlights to here, so here's the final spread. And we are on to the final weekly spread now, since I'll be saving the final few days of April for the May weeklies. And this theme will be all around chocolate chip muffins, which are probably my favorite kind of muffin. Though that's hard to say because I absolutely love cinnamon muffins or cinnamon apple as well. Let me know what your favorite kind is in the comments below, because now that I'm thinking about it, there are actually so many kinds of muffins that I love. And now that I've said the word muffin about 100 times, it sounds very weird to me, as well as macarons. Macarons. Anyways, back to this little mini calendar here and some more faux lettering, which is honestly so fun even if I'm not technically doing it right. My bullet journal, my rules. But in my opinion, there should not be any rules around bullet journaling, which is probably a topic for a whole other video, because I don't think I actually use my bullet journal the way most people do. But I think a bullet journal should be whatever you need it to be, and that will definitely change from week to week and month to month. Which is also why I like trying out different designs, trackers, and pages to see what I like and what works for me and what doesn't. So strangely, having a bullet journal can be a great way to understand yourself and get to know yourself a little bit better and find out what works best for you in so many areas of life, like art, productivity, goals, accountability, and so much more. So all rambling aside, I'm just drawing these mini muffins to put the days of the week on. And then drawing Gray Kitty enjoying a jumbo muffin. I do have to wonder where he found a muffin that is at least 2 times as tall as he is, because that is a bakery I need in my life. Back to drawing in the squares for these day boxes. I will say this is actually a very similar layout to one that I've done before, but I didn't love the way I colored the boxes last time, so I wanted to try it again so that I didn't have this idea in my head that this layout just didn't work for me. This is a very common layout and I think it's a very useful one, so I kind of wanted to prove to myself that I could make it look cute if I tried it again. And I will say that I enjoy how this one turned out way more than the first time that I tried it. I'm just coloring in the lettering and the mini calendar with pink and green, and I think they complement one another so well. I'm coloring in all of the tops of the muffins in this light sand color, and then doing the same on the jumbo muffin. Next, I am coloring in the bottom part of the muffin with a darker brown, giving it some shadow for dimension, and coloring all of the chocolate chips. And finally, giving Gray Kitty his classic color. This bakery theme was super enjoyable to draw and color, and I had a lot of fun with it. I'm going back and forth on the theme that I want to do for May and for the upcoming months though. So if you have any ideas that you'd like to see, please comment them down below and I might just do one of them. Also, if you recreate any of my weekly or monthly spreads, please tag me on Instagram at koanna_art, which I will leave in my description as well, because I would absolutely love to see what y'all come up with. Now I'm just drawing a light pink line through the header of each day and beginning to outline each box with green and pink to carry on with the spring palette that I used in most of this bakery theme. There's something really satisfying about drawing long lines with these brush pens, and I'm always very entertained by it. And then I'm just adding the finishing touches with the white gel pen for highlight. And of course, putting in the drop shadows around the day boxes as well. I'm sure this may seem a bit redundant, but I do feel like these drop shadows really add so much to the weekly spreads. And this is how the final weekly spread turned out with all of the chocolate chip muffins. And now for a quick flip through of all of the weekly spreads we worked on today. Let me know which one was your favorite, and I hope you enjoyed these as much as I did. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more creative content like this, and I will see you all in the next video.